Welcome to the 6th episode of Games and Stuff and Things. It's been a while, so kind of forgot how to do this, but I'm your host, Robbie, and I can't do it alone. I am also joined by Dylan.
Hi.
Suhail.
Howdy.
Brandon.
Hello.
And we were just talking about Battletech. So, I made Suhail and Matt play each other, and I had been looking up videos constantly for like a week straight, just trying to understand the game well enough to like guide them through. But even then, it was a lot of like them asking like very easy questions and me being like, hold up, I gotta look for that role. Hold on, give me a second. But we played, it was only like one real round. It was a lot of setup before that. And it's a lot of math. It's a lot of like, your gunnery skill is 4, and then you're this distance away, so that's a 1, and there's trees in the way, so that's 2, and like different shit like that. And then it's dice rolls. You have to roll to hit, kind of like D&D. And then if you do hit, you have to roll to fucking just whichever body part you hit is a roll.
Oh, interesting.
The damage is set, but there was things like
overheating.
We didn't even get to there, man. But so I think it was you that rolled a 2, which is a critical hit. Snake Eyes is a critical hit, so it delved into another table. There was a lot of record keeping, so it took a long time to like figure it out. But like I felt like we got the muscle memory down. The cool thing was right before we stopped playing, the setup was about to go hard, dude. Like there was a bunch of people that were flanking each other, and one guy had like a perfect sniper shot that he was lined up for to take out this other big like it was about to fucking go down. And I could see it happening. I'm like, oh, this is it's gonna get good. Like if we can actually make it a full game next time, it's gonna be wild. And also it's like its own universe like T&D is. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of like warring nations and mercenary work and shit. And I can already imagine like a scenario to run people through like a D&D campaign.
That sounds cool.
Honestly, it reminded me a lot of like Warhammer 40k, but just more detailed. Like with the specifically this body part, specifically this weapon, you know. So it was really intricate.
Yeah, Warhammer is like it's strictly health based, I believe. Like it's just a hit number, like a hit points number that you're taking down, and then that unit's out. Like yeah, there's the storytelling stuff behind it, but
so much lore.
So this is like locational, like disable that arm if you don't want to deal with.
If that arm takes enough damage, it's out, and whatever gun is attached, you can't use. And when he rolled the 2, that critical hit roll, it could have pierced into like specific things like gyros and engines and fusion cores and fucking. You can shoot ammo, get a critical hit on the ammo box inside your like torso, and it blows up. All your ammo's gone.
That's cool.
You can also just run up in melee and a bunch of shit, dude. A lot of like line of sight stuff, like hiding in like behind cover and shit. I am so fucking hyped to give this another whirl. The record keeping takes a lot of time though. Especially for big turns when you're just constantly rolling dice to do math.
I think we just need to get the hang of it because there was so much stuff we just didn't understand or know about the game, and that was delaying a lot of it. But it seemed like once you got the hang of it, it could roll pretty smoothly.
One thing, I kind of did all the record keeping. I just basically told them like the numbers that they need to do. So if I could individually, or not individually, but like if I could pass around the cheat sheets and character sheets and everything and then teach y'all how to do it, I think that would make it way faster because
everyone doing their own record keeping.
Yeah.
How long did y'all's game go on for?
Like 2 fucking hours, and we did 2.5 turns.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but it was really interesting. It was cool to like learn the game.
I would love to. I am looking forward to the like building a story for people to go through, like a campaign to like. I already have specific missions to go on and how that works into a bigger story. Like, dude, I'm so fucking excited.
What is Alpha Strike?
Alpha Strike is like the streamlined version of this game. where it's not as in depth. It's meant for bigger armies, and that's the one that actually like. I think that's more like
more Warhammery, like
hit points
values.
based kind of stuff. But it supports like way bigger unit, like bigger army counts.
That's cool.
There is also a Total Warfare version of the rulebook, and that lets you have fucking infantry, tanks, helicopters, along with fucking mechs. Like, it's such a crazy. I saw a YouTube video of them doing it was like 3 mechs versus an army.
Entire armies of infantry. Okay.
It was fucking nuts. The infantry or the army actually won just because there were so many vehicles swarming the mechs, but it was still so cool to watch. This is a character sheet.
That's a nightmare.
So these are armor hit points.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as those build up, your armor is shredded and you're doing internal damage. The critical hits are all these down here of like what is possible. So all the ones with actual names are like different systems that you can disrupt.
Mm-hmm.
There's movement. Some have jump jets and stuff. All your different weapons are right there. They all have.
And those are set values of damage. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like cluster rockets can like specific numbers can hit. You shoot, say, like 6, and like 3 can hit, and the other 3 miss. Like that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're all just different characters. This is the cheat sheet. This has a lot of here. If you want to look at how crazy the character sheet is, that's for each mech.
Yeah. That's
so
crazy.
if you're running 3 dudes, you're looking at 3 different ones of these. This is all the math that you need to fucking figure out on the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to remember it at all because it's kind of simple as long as you have the basic framework.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're calculating if a shot, like if you need to figure out your hit roll, like you're deciding I'm going to shoot that mech across the map over there. There's like a specific acronym that you follow, Gator.
Yeah, what is the G in Gator?
Gunnery skill.
Okay.
And then there's attack modifier. But like, say if you ran, like your mech has a walking speed and a running speed.
Mm-hmm.
If you walked, if you stay still, you don't take a penalty. But if you walked, it's like a +1 to your hit roll. Running is +2. Jump jets is even higher. And also, like, if there's a tree in the way or like a light forest in the way, that's +1. Like, the number keeps fucking going up to just for you to see if you even land the shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the what I described is the classic version. Alpha Strike is like
simplified.
Yeah, it's so much easier. It's a lot more like position. Well, not that this one isn't heavily position based, but like positioning is all you have in that one, really.
Mm-hmm. If you started with Alpha Strike, does it kind of transfer over well into learning that, or are they pretty much separate games?
I don't want to say they're separate games, but it feels like 2 totally different animals. I don't even think there's hexes in the Alpha Strike version.
Okay.
And the movement in Classic is like, if you want to go in a straight line from one hex to another, that is 1 movement cost.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to turn, because you're facing a direction and you need to turn to move in that direction, that's a +1 too. So if you need to turn and then move forward, that's 2. If there's an elevation change, that's an extra 1. So it takes technically 2 to move to that space. There's you can step in water and you can be totally submerged in water and nothing can hit you.
One of the mechs that I had for my thing, it was like 3, but my heavy mech was like, its nickname was Awesome, and that's why I picked it. I was like, alright, so this is going to be awesome. It moved like 3 spaces a turn.
Was that not awesome?
And that was like its running speed, or that was walking. Running, I think, was 5.
It was 5, but since he had to spend extra points to just go up a hill.
Yeah.
Like all of us, he wasn't moving any more than 3 at a time.
it was a struggle, man. I was like, yeah, this guy's not awesome.
But man, that turn that we finished on, he had the shot lined up. He had like 3 sniper cannons on him.
So slow, like.
He had like 3 sniper cannons on him, and the turn before he was trying to take shots, but there was like trees in the way and everything. But I actually took the turn over because he had to step away, and I positioned all the little guys in one area, and it caused Matt to put his big guy out in the open. I was like, dude, he just fucked up so hard, like leaving that cover. Yeah. Because now it's like a clear as day fucking shot for all 3 sniper cannons. I was like, it's about to go down, dude. We just didn't finish it.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good, man. I had a great time that night.
Yeah.
Has anybody? Oh, you do. You've been playing Hades too. How is that?
Oh, it's fantastic. If you loved the first one, you're gonna love the second. It's still very clearly in early access because there are some character models that are still like placeholders. So you'll get to those and you'll be a little bummed out, but it's really good. I know today they actually dropped their second patch, which did a lot of changes to the weapons. But I mean, yeah, if you like the first one, you'll love the second. It's every bit as good, and it's already bigger than the first game, and it's in early access.
I really want to play it, but I know that if I play it and beat it, then I'm probably not going to like go back when it fully releases.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
So you're not going to beat it because it's not done.
Yeah. But
you can beat like the first. You know how the first game only had one path you can go through?
Yeah.
This one, as of right now, has 2 with potentially a third. I don't know if they're finishing the second one or doing a third one. But there's like 1.5 paths you can go through, so there's no like ending at the moment. There's even like dialogue in the game that's just like, yeah, you've done a lot of stuff, but you know you got to be patient now. In a way, it's the developers saying like, yeah, we're not done, so come back after a little bit. It's really cool. The first run is pretty much complete. The second run is where you start seeing a lot of placeholder stuff, but it's great. The game feels so good.
So why not just wait though?
I guess that's really just a personal thing. The gameplay, like I said, polished, complete. So if you want to have fun with it and just play some more Hades, give it a shot. If you want to wait, more power to you.
Seems kind of just like a story thing. If you want to experience,
it's definitely a story thing for the waiting.
The story in its entirety. Just wait for the game to fully release.
I would say if you did have like the itch to play Hades right now, get it because the price is probably going to go up. Get it. Beat the first run, and then you can set it down and start waiting.
Okay,
it's kind of like
I don't want to spoil the boss, but finish your first run, and then you can wait.
It's kind of like people who would like rather wait for the entire season to release, and then they binge watch it, versus those who are like every single week a new episode drops type of thing.
That's fair.
See, for me, I feel like when Vampire Survivors came out, I beat that in early access, and I just haven't really had the urge to go back and play all the new stuff because I feel like I got my fill of it playing it for like, I don't know, 20, 30 hours or however much I played it for. And so I don't want to do that with Hades where I play it and I beat what is currently out and I'm like, okay, I've had my fill. So I'm going to wait, but it sounds very cool.
I know they're already saying it should be like out of early access next year, so...
Okay.
Shouldn't be too long of a wait.
Dylan, have you been playing anything, man?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of like small, cheap indie games. Let's see. I played a couple of games that are like $20 to $25, and they're about like 3 to 5 hours.
That sounds nice. That sounds refreshing.
Yeah, I played Pepper Grinder recently, which I think you would really like, Robert.
I've seen it, yeah.
It's a platformer, kind of like Super Meat Boy, I would say, because it's kind of fast-paced. Basically, you're this girl with a drill, and you're drilling through dirt and whatever, and then, you know, like, using that to gain momentum and speed, and jumping, you know, platforming. And so it's really cool. That's awesome. It's a lot of fun because it's fast-paced, platformer, there's, like, fun gimmicks, the art style is really cool. The only thing is I wish it was longer. It's like 2 hours, but it's like $20 or 15 maybe even. So, but like it was so much fun. If it was like, if they released DLC, I would buy it and keep playing it. So, like, if you want a short little platformer, that's a really good game. I also played Children of the Sun.
I saw that. That looks interesting.
It's really cool. So it's a puzzle game where you're shooting a bullet and you have to kill every person in this area with that single bullet, and you can redirect it after every hit. But you have to make it where this one bullet like curves around and kills every person.
Mhm.
You take the spot of the person that you kill, right?
Yeah, so like you'll shoot the bullet and you'll shoot at a person, and once it hits that person, you can redirect it. And you have to like basically maneuver your way around this maze of people to kill all of them in one shot.
Seems pretty chill.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea for a puzzle game because, you know, like, I don't think there's anything like it. The art style is really cool.
There's a really unique art style, too.
Yeah.
I have not seen the art style. What's that like?
Oh, it's hard to say. It's very, like, I'll pull it up so you can see it. It's very dark and colorful. Like, the whole story of the game is that you're killing these cultists.
Wasn't it a little bit wireframey?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
And, I mean, for an indie game, it's just got really cool style. I think this one is like $25. It's $15.
It looks like a Devolver game. Was it
It is,
Devolver? It
yeah.
is? Okay.
$15. It's like 4 to 5 hours. It doesn't get super deep into puzzle stuff, but I mean, for a game that's like 4 or 5 hours, it's like the perfect amount of time for what it does. So that's a really cool game and a really unique take on a puzzle game. And then I also played Indica, which I believe is $25, about 4 hours. That game kind of reminds me of Hellblade.
Yeah.
Because it's like a walking simulator with slight puzzle solving. But you play as this girl who's a nun, but you have this voice in your head kind of questioning your faith. It's really interesting. Like I said, kind of similar to, I think, a Hellblade type of game.
Is it like a serious tone like Hellblade?
It's kind of funny.
Oh, okay, so it's more like, what's that one game where you're like a detective?
Disco Elysium?
Yeah, it's like that in tone?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's kind of like dark humor because it's kind of asking questions about religion, but not in like a condescending, like Reddit atheist kind of way. You know, it's about this girl who's
So
a
they
nun.
did it like tastefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Asking like real questions because she's a nun who is questioning her faith. You know, like one of the things they do is they ask like, when you confess a sin, you know, a priest will say, okay, say this many prayers, this many Hail Marys, and you'll be forgiven. And the voice in your head will say like, okay, well then if you lose a letter, like if you're delivering mail and a mailman loses a letter, let's say that's one Hail Mary. But if he loses 100 letters, is that equivalent to him murdering somebody in the eyes of God or stuff like that? And so then
It's
you're
some deep, like, fucking...
yeah, no,
philosophical
it's really
questions
deep and
about-
interesting. Like it's
Yeah.
so then you're like finding these religious stories and kind of artifacts throughout the game, and the funny part is it's very serious, but it's very video gamey because you're collecting these religious artifacts and getting points and leveling up. So it's like you unlocked a new level of guilt and stuff like that.
But do you like level up in your faith, or is it more of like
It's
like do you get to choose? Like, is there like, hey, I'm going to lean more towards like not leaning into it, or
all the
or does it
points are
reward
like
you?
meaningless.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of like a point. I think the game even tells you like the points mean nothing. Like,
I was
So-
gonna say
you'll level up in it, but it'll have like no effect on the game.
that's deep. That's even deeper because they're like,
Yeah.
it's anyway. Can you imagine if they came out with like a different series, but then the next one it's like talking about Islam and you're an imam who is whatever, and they just like start poking holes. Like, what if this game is developed by a Reddit atheist?
Yeah, but so I mean it's really interesting, and yeah, like asks interesting questions about faith, but without, like I
Being
said,
rude.
being condescending or
Yeah.
anything. You know, it's like pretty real questions about this woman and her like her life as a nun and her sexual desires that she can't explore because she's a nun.
Is there any diverging pathways, or is it just kind of railroaded?
No, it's railroaded.
Okay.
Like I said,
So it's not like stick to your faith or question your faith.
no,
it's
like I
just
said, all that stuff is meaningless.
Okay.
Like, and I think that's the point.
Damn.
But it's a walking simulator. You'll solve some puzzles occasionally. But the game also has really interesting like cinematography, like as if it were a movie, because the cutscenes will be, the game is in third person, but it, like certain cutscenes, the camera will be like away from the characters, like watching them almost as if it were a movie or something like that, which is really interesting.
Like a Silent Hill type?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Like the graphics are really good. Like it's a really, I don't know what company published this, but it's a really small company. And like I said, the game's only like $25, but the graphics are really good. The art style is really good. It's a really interesting game.
Is it like realism, or was it?
It's realism, but then there's also like, it has flashbacks, which are like 16-bit,
Oh, that's cool.
like
That's
platforming.
that sounds
kinda.
awesome, dude.
It, like I said, it's such a weird game, and it's so unique that you kind of got to go in not knowing anything.
Mm-hmm.
The only other game that this company, Oddmeter, has released is called Sakurai: The Archer's Tale, which is a bow and arrow shooter in virtual reality.
Okay.
Very
Is he
different.
committing sacrilege?
Yeah, that title sounds fucking wild.
Yeah.
No,
What was it about?
It's his name. The magical. So you must pass through many different locations towards your main goal, the magical stone Sacrolith, which controls dragons. So it's like a fantasy virtual reality game where you're trying to get this magic stone. And so they followed that up with Indica, which they describe as a young nun who communicates with the devil meets an escaped convict who speaks with God. It's a tedious and confusing tragic comedy presented in an art house style. So
That's hype.
What a
Sounds
fucking
cool.
leap.
Yeah, right?
We will watch this studio with great interest.
so that game is so interesting and just so unique. I mean, those three games alone, Pepper Grinder was like super fun platformer, Children of the Sun, really interesting take on a puzzle game, and then Indica, which, like I said, Hellblade, but kind of funny, but really interesting. All these games are like $20 or less also.
Mhm.
So, and they're short, which I really liked, so I could just beat them in a couple days. So, yeah, those are 3 games I highly recommend that are cheap and short.
I will buy Pepper Grinder and get back to
Like
you.
I said, Pepper Grinder's right up your alley because it's like a 2-hour-long platformer that's like really fast-paced and really silly with really cool pixel, what is it called? The pixel graphics?
Voxels?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but a really cool art style.
Okay. That just seems like something that I could just chew through real easily, and
Yeah.
that sounds like something that I just want right now. So are you looking forward to something specific?
Yes. Hellblade 2.
The struggle that we've had to just get you to play it.
I know. So I'm the worst. I love video games, but I never make the time for them. I am so lucky and grateful to have such amazing friends like Robert, because he went out of his way. He's like, listen, borrow my Xbox Series X. I have Game Pass. Play it.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
not
I
like-
noticed you had an Xbox here.
Yeah, so Robert has lent me his Xbox.
What a nice guy.
Fucking Giga Chad over here.
Same process.
Alright.
Go.
And the next hurdle was, well, wait, this game needs to be played with headphones. So I need to get a headset. So I ordered just like the standard Xbox X, like Microsoft branded headset, the wireless one. It's right there. Anyway, off of Amazon, but they lost the package initially. So that delayed it a little bit, so I had to like reorder it. They like issued a refund. I had to reorder it, and it finally got here. And then I had some user error trying to set it up, and I was like, I'm trying to play this game. I can't figure out why the volume's not working. But I have booted up the game. And then I immediately turned it off because I couldn't get the headphones to work. I was like, I don't know.
You don't want to play that without the audio.
Yeah, so I hopefully by the next episode I will have. I'm going to say I have started it. Ideally beaten it. I just don't know how long it'll be.
I've heard it's pretty short, like
I don't think it's going to be much longer.
Like 5
than
or
the
6 hours or so.
Yeah. So we'll see. I also am slower than other gamers, so I like to take my time.
Curious to hear your thought about the first one, because the main thing I've heard about the second one is like, just with the announcement of it and everything, do you feel like it was necessary to have a sequel?
Honestly, story-wise, not really. They did leave it... Okay. That's why it was somewhat of a surprise. I was like, oh man, they made a second one, but at the same time, I'm curious because the way the first one ended, it was kind of like you could tell the developers didn't know, is this going to be successful or not? So we'll leave it semi-open-ended for like this kind of weird thing. So that's why it was kind of like not too surprising that there was a sequel. So they kind of left themselves at liberty to kind of like...
Yeah, it was like...
If there would be another one. Yeah.
Like, just coming off the first game, do you feel like it was a sequel where it's like, okay, they need to tell this story, or like, oh, this game was so successful, they're going to make another one?
I honestly don't know what the story they're going to tell is.
Yeah.
Because they wrapped it up so nicely. So it's kind of like God of War 3. Like, who would have suspected that God of War 2018 when it was like, well, I mean, they did kind of have that like Kratos crawling off thing, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of very like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I'm excited because I loved the first one. I couldn't give it high enough praises. I would always recommend that to people who are like, hey, when they would come into GameStop, I'd be like, hey, I want something a little bit different. I'd be like, all right.
Did you work at a GameStop or a sex shop?
Oh my god.
I'm looking to explore.
Yeah, man. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, what do you play? Like, what's your console? And they would tell me, because back then it was a PlayStation exclusive. And, yeah, I would always recommend, if we had it in stock, I would be like, this game right here. This game's amazing. Because for me, it was really just amazing. And I even went and watched the documentary that they had that like kind of explained their process and how they made the game. And they worked with a team of like over 40 psychiatrists or psychologists and worked with people who actually did suffer from symptoms of schizophrenia and tried to mimic what it would be like. And actually, one thing I didn't realize is that game, the first game, is the most accurate representation of what schizophrenia is and is used in the medical community for like, this is what it is like. Because they assembled a team of like 40 experts and people who actually had it. And they're like, all right, here you go. And then they put it in a fucking video game.
That sounds sick, man.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's terrifying, but beautiful at the same time.
I mean, that's why it's best playing with headphones, because
and
hearing voices all around you, right?
Oh my god, it's great. I mean, don't get me wrong, like you feel for this character, and I mean, do you guys like know what the first one's about? Like, do you want to...
I have an idea. You can go into it.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into like super details, but basically it's like it almost reminds me of like the Divine Comedy a little bit. Whereas you have like Dante who's going to hell to retrieve his loved one. It's kind of like the same thing where like you play Senua who's lost her loved one and she's kind of confronting like her own version of hell, like this like Norse gods or like Celtic, Norse, whatever thing, pagan, whatever. And she's like quite literally fighting demons, but also fighting her mental demons. but then at the same time, it's like, is she hallucinating that, or is that actually real? It's like, it's so, it's like, and then like you see her like struggle with like what is reality and everything, and it is just beautiful. So that's why like I'm happy that there's more to play, but I'm also like confused lore wise, like where's the story going here?
But while I was setting that up for him and everything, we had some time to kill, so I showed him Wreckfest. How was Wreckfest? How do you like it?
Wreckfest was so fun. It reminded me of like Twisted Metal type of thing, or like Simpsons Road Rage or something. It was just like, hey, race, but at the same time, you're like racing for your life. Like everybody's trying to get you. You're trying to get them. You're trying to do damage. I actually got first in that one,
the Destruction Derby, where you're just killing people.
That's what it's called. Yeah, it's just like, it's not even a race. It's just like, just destroy the other cars. It was like my first time trying that, and I got first. I was like, yeah. He did put it on like the easier difficulty.
We don't need to.
But it's fun. You don't want to fucking just get killed.
It was fun. That's like a game that I would just like put on, like, hey, let's just like play.
Yeah,
There's
play a couple
non-committal. You know, it's just super chill, relaxing, just funny.
I mean, honestly,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like Game Pass is like the perfect thing, like to like hang out with friends and just load up some games. You know, like Overcooked or Wreckfest or whatever, like party games like that.
Yeah, man, Overcooked, man. That game is that'll test some relationships right there.
The first race that I put on was it's one lane that just goes straight, and there's hills that do this, and it keeps going, and then a full U-turn, and then like parallel to the line you just did is the same thing. It just has hoops, and then another U-turn. It's just, that's it. When you start, everything's normal. You just think it's like an off-road racing game, and then like 3 laps in, when everybody's like jumbled up and like crashing into each other, it's fucking chaos. Like cars are just jumping the hill straight into you, and you're like, oh fuck!
Mid-air collisions and all.
It's so sick. I love that game, man. We also played a little bit of Little Kitty Big City. The cat game.
Yeah, that one was cute.
I've heard
I liked it a lot.
Has anybody played Untitled Goose Game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I touched it a little bit.
Do you know what that is?
I've seen some of it, yeah.
It's like you get a list for every area that you're in of just like, do these objectives.
You're a goose just fucking with people.
Yeah, it's basically that's it.
It's that, but you're a cat.
Oh, okay.
So you like get up on shelves and knock shit over, and one of the first dude that you run into, he's painting, like doing a really big paint like thing on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's just throwing fucking paint cans at first, and he's just like, man, I'm not feeling it. So he's just there confused, like writer's block basically. And you as a cat just run up, get your feet wet, and then start walking on the painting, and the whole time he's just like, oh, okay. Like, he's getting into it, so whenever you stop, he's like, that's it. Like, it's beautiful. And then he fucking like gives you like, dude, thank you to the cat. And you get whatever thing to move on to the next level happens. Like a door opens or an item drops or something. And it's fucking cool, dude. You just bullshit around as a cat. The thing is, like, when I saw Stray, I thought like, yeah, it's cool that they mocap the cat and like they really put a personality to the character you're playing as the cat. It was still in a post-apocalyptic robot society, and I was just like, that's not the vibe I want when I'm a cat.
A cat, yeah.
So this perfectly fits just letting you be a chaotic cat.
Yeah, I mean, Stray was fun. But I don't think the game would be too much different if you were a human compared to a cat, you know?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I played it, but, you know, I think, you know, there was a lot of cat elements and whatever. But overall, like, I don't think there was a lot in that game you did that specifically a cat would do, you know? It was like this.
Yeah. It didn't necessarily need to be a cat, but I think being a cat was, like, a major selling point for it. there was a lot of people that were just like, "Oh, cat, I want to play that."
Because, I mean, it was kind of just like a sci-fi puzzle kind of game.
Yeah.
I want to be there for when they were like trying to do like the modeling for the cat, and they just like had an actual cat with like all its sensors around it.
I have a clip of it saved on my phone because it's so fucking cute. They're just running them through a little obstacle course and having them chase around a thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just acting like cats, but they got balls on them everywhere. So we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. So we're gonna hit up the news, and we have a lot. So I'm gonna kind of burn through these pretty fast, but please speak up if you want to stop and discuss something. Also, I might accidentally double up because I took notes one day and then like I took notes 2 days, and some of these stories might be.
I don't think you had any repetition in there.
Let's see. Apple is now allowing game emulators on the iPhone store, on the App Store. Since they just kind of said no to all emulators like GBA stuff, NES stuff.
You can't really stop it. It's going to happen anyway.
I mean, they were doing it up until now.
Oh.
Wonder what the legality is behind that.
Emulators they're not illegal, so they kind of just got nailed to the wall and got forced to add them on, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel like if you cater to that audience, you're going to sell more Apple products, so...
But then I think if they do blatantly cater to it, it's gonna cause like litigation.
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah.
I mean, I
So-
wonder, especially with companies like Nintendo.
Matter of
Like, I
time
wonder what
before
the
Nintendo
legality
comes for you.
behind emulators is, or if it's like the emulator itself is legal, but then the games are illegal.
Yeah,
You know,
the
like-
pirated copies or something.
yeah, it's like you can have a Game Boy emulator. That's illegal, but then I wonder if that's kind of like the loophole they get past by having their products on the App Store.
Mhm.
Moving on, Japanese Pokemon hacker arrested for modded Pokemon, like trading modded Pokemon. Like, you want some good IV stats? Like, here, and then just free!
That's an abuse of power.
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you imagine, like, what are you here for?
Pokemon.
I hacked Pokemon.
And they all fucking recoil back like, instead, don't fuck with them. Bethesda focused on finding ways to increase output. So
God.
opening like a little specialized team, maybe.
I mean, it does kind of blow my mind that a studio that big doesn't have multiple teams working on different things, really. Not to be like Call of Duty studios where they're putting out something every year, but it does surprise me that, okay, we're all working on Starfield and that's releasing, and now we're going to start planning the next Elden Ring. That they're not at least getting into like pre-production phases while they're finishing another game. Or, I know Brandon said there's been rumors of remastered Fallout games. As somebody that does not know much about game development, I can imagine that seems like it would be way easier than making a new Fallout or something, so I'm
so you could
surprised
give that to like a smaller team.
they don't have a smaller team working
Yeah.
on just remastering a new Fallout game for, PS5 or something.
What if that's where they send like the fuck ups? They're like, yeah, you're gonna work on remasters. There you go.
It's like the remedial class, so
Like you guys have no talent or something. Like you have no innovative thoughts.
But see, to motivate them, you're like, you're doing a great job. To show you how much we appreciate you, we're sending you to work on Fallout 3 for the PS5, Skyrim for refrigerators.
Are you proud of me now, Mama?
I mean, I'm surprised with the amount of re-releases Skyrim did. I'm so surprised they never did a Fallout re-release.
Yeah,
Because the modders already did.
They
can't do better than the modders.
Yeah, the modders just.
I mean, just
took
to
over
appeal
that
to the
game.
casual audience, like that's my main thing with the Fallout show. Imagine being somebody who has no interest in gaming,
Mm-hmm.
and you start watching the Fallout show because you see all the hype behind it, and you're like, this is awesome.
Mhm.
Like, and then you get a PlayStation or an Xbox or whatever, and then you see that the most recent Fallout game is like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
Look how Dark Souls Remastered went, though. Like, people shit on that game when it first came out. I don't know how they feel now, but, like...
Well, wasn't that just server issues, though?
I feel like that was like the modded version of Dark Souls was just straight up better, and that's why people shit on it.
I mean, I think there's always like you'll never be able to please hardcore fans of stuff like that. I think something like Fallout, you know, you can play Fallout 4 on modern consoles, but even that is, I think that's a 10-year-old game. Like if, like I said, if you're just a casual,
It wasn't that great.
yeah.
I mean, I played it, I liked it, but it was no New Vegas or Fallout 3.
It's definitely overhyped, yeah.
I mean, it's just for like cash grab purposes, I'm so surprised. Like if they were like Fallout 3, all we did is upscale the graphics and it's $70. Like I bet it would sell. Look at The Last of Us and all the remasters they've done, you know, of PS4 to PS5. Like,
but maybe it's also a business strategy. Like they want to keep the market starved for it, so that when they release it, they know it's going to do well.
We want the next giant piece of shit to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, like Starfield.
I mean, I'm curious because I wonder if at a certain point hype kind of dies down. Like if Valve released Half-Life 3, how many people would still be excited for it? Because so many people don't know anything about Half-Life.
Well, I think Half-Life is
old.
more culty than Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
They do have a small community.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I will say they're diehard fans, but they're small in number.
But let's say we get to the point, you know, like who knows how long it'll be till the next Fallout comes out. Let's say it's 10 years from now, and at that point it's 20 years since
the last one.
The last new Fallout, you know, unless they remaster something.
It makes me think of like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
I'm like curious
But I
how
feel
many
like
Call of Duties have released since Grand Theft Auto 5.
Too many.
I mean, but even Grand Theft Auto, you know, because of GTA Online, has some staying power.
Yeah.
You know, and Fallout has done that with 76, which I played it, and it is better than, you know, it's not bad. It's pretty decent.
It's a Fallout game.
But nowhere near the hype that GTA Online has.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So I'm just curious, let's say it's 10 years until a Fallout, does hype kind of die down at that point? Does the Fallout cultural impact kind of lessen? Because then if, let's say, it's been 20 years since the last Fallout,
like, does that audience still
anybody
want
that's
Fallout?
younger than 20 years old will never have known a Fallout minus the TV show, you know?
Well, that
Maybe
kind of
that's good
happened with
enough.
3, though. By 3, like, everyone had dropped out of it, and then people were like, oh, this looks cool.
Gotta be just really good to get people back into it, kind of like 3 was, where it was pretty unique at the time.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even now, if you're 13 years old, the last Fallout came out when you were like 3 or 4 years old.
Y'all heard of this Escape from Tarkov news?
Yeah, the $250, was it?
Oh, you're jumping ahead real quick.
Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot real bad.
They're keeping quote unquote not DLC from players who already purchased the all DLC version of the game. How do I even elaborate on this, dude?
They added a PvE mode, but then said it's not DLC, so that the people that have the big edition don't get it. So you still have to pay for, what is it, like $250 now?
It's some crazy ass number. I bet the upgrade is the upgrade like discounted for people that already have the
I haven't seen anything.
Damn, that's rough, dude.
I think it wasn't, but then they backpedaled after the backlash.
Suhail, go ahead.
Real quick, I did my research. 14. There have been 14 Call of Duties released since 2013 when GTA 5 was
Was
released.
this easy to find, or did you have to do the math yourself?
I had to do the math myself, unfortunately. I was like, okay, when did Grand Theft Auto release? Okay, and then I found another list of every Call of Duty release, and then just add from 2013 on 14 Call of Duties in the time between Grand Theft Auto 5 and 6.
It's going to be 15. It's going to be 16.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's crazy to think about. GTA 5 was like an Xbox 360 PS4 game originally, so like it's basically been a whole console generation without a new GTA.
Yeah, the same console as Halo 3 was launched.
Yeah. That's like one of those weird gaps. Like the Xbox 360 played Halo 3 and GTA 5, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's going to come out on the Pro version of the PlayStation. So they missed an entire generation and a half
But they still kept the hype going with online.
That's true. Red Dead 2 also came out.
Yeah.
See, GTA is another game that just has like insane cultural impact. Like, I don't know what it is, but whenever Rockstar announces a new game, it's just like the world. They have a pull on like the entire world that nobody else does.
It's like we're all like having zero control. We must buy. It's like, oh, okay. Like you automatically just buy it.
Yeah.
Because you also know that it's never going to go down in price.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah. It's kind of like Nintendo games. You're like, well, I gotta get the new Mario game because it's never gonna go on sale.
Yeah, I remember I didn't buy Grand Theft Auto 5 until 3-4 years after it released because I was like, I'll just wait for it to go on sale. It never did.
Yep.
I think if anything, maybe there's like a Black Friday thing where it went like $10 off or $20 off.
Going back to Nintendo lawyer stuff, Garry's mod removes Nintendo themed mods. So like all the Marios and Pokemons in Garry's mod are now getting taken off. And Steam also put out a release saying, hey, we're like being forced to do this. If you could take down your own stuff too, we'd appreciate it. It's just weird. Nintendo going after Garry's mod and also the dude who made hack Pokemon. Going back to that, how cool would it be if like the meta of Pokemon just like took off because anybody could get any Pokemon like spec'd out in specific ways and shit?
That'd be cool. I don't know enough about Pokemon.
Yeah, I've never seen the competitive scene for that.
It's pretty sweaty.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Imagine having to train fucking like you farm eggs to get the perfect Pokemon, and then you take that Pokemon and you make it battle specific stuff to raise specific stats.
So like Pokemon eugenics.
I don't know.
They got it down. Yeah, like they literally have it down to a science. Like this is, and like what's funny is like for people who play Pokemon super casually, like me, I was like, I just like that Pokemon. It's cool. I don't care that it doesn't have a calm temperament or whatever. Like
I'm gonna do the same attack over and over anyway.
Yeah, no special attacks that don't do damage. If it doesn't do damage, it doesn't go on the
Growl, get out of here. Leer,
Yeah.
no.
Boo.
Tackle.
Have you heard of the Pokemon mod that it replaces every NPC with like NPCs that actually are challenging and have their own strategies and shit?
That's cool.
So like it's no longer just like, oh fuck all these
Pokemon
kids.
Souls.
Oh man, what a doozy! Microsoft closing studios.
Oh.
Dude, imagine saying like, we need more games. Like,
Yeah, and then afterwards that slap to the face, like, we need small games that perform. You had that.
I said it once, I'll say it again. It's literally translates to we need to maximize our profits, so let's put out shittier games. Okay? We want stuff that like Among Us that is like cheap as hell to develop but sold millions and millions of copies so that way they can maximize as much profit
like a
as
lottery
possible.
ticket basically.
It's literally that. Like they don't care that they're. But to be fair, people are voting with their wallets, and we have to understand the video game industry is like a for-profit industry. So when they look at games like that, when you have these like executives who are just simply looking at it from a business analytics perspective, not like a passion or love for the game, they're just looking at how can we make more money. We need more small, shitty games. I'm not saying that Among Us was shitty, but they're like these one-hit wonder
game made by
games.
one guy.
Yeah, like these like faddish games that like go away and like nobody ever touches again.
Mm-hmm.
Sell as much of it and just push out as much of that a year as we can.
I mean, I think there's a few things to that. I think the first one is Game Pass. Like, I think it's impossible to do the math or just get the expectations of Game Pass is going to hurt any Xbox game sales, and at which point is Game Pass subscriptions worth the amount of like they're releasing Call of Duty on Game Pass now, so Call of Duty sales are going to take a big hit on Xbox.
It's going to look like Call of Duty did bad, so are they going to kill Call of Duty?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people like myself who I don't play a lot of Call of Duty, like I would rather pay the $10 for like a couple months and play a couple months worth of Call of Duty because I know I'm not going to be really into it,
So you say, like, essentially they're suffering from its success?
Well, I think kind of, but again, like, how do you weigh out the money you make from Game Pass compared to the money you would have made selling this game? I think especially smaller games like Hi-Fi Rush, that I think less people would look and buy it right away. You know, I think more people are like, oh, let me buy Game Pass and try this and see if I like it.
Right. And that's why I think, like, kudos to Microsoft and coming up with Game Pass. Because, like, me as primarily a PlayStation player, it's like, come on, man, like, get with the program. And
I think it's a weird thing.
I have a very opposite opinion.
Well, I think I was in the same boat as you, but I think
subscription services are going to kill the quality of games.
Well, I think it's kind of like... Sorry to interrupt. I think it's kind of like the path Netflix is taking, where they're like, you know, so only so many people are going to subscribe to your service, and then at a certain point, they're like, we need to do things to make more money. But then for something like Netflix, it's like, well, now you can't share passwords. Now everybody needs to have their own individual account. Like, Robert, go ahead.
This topic brought up a lot of comfort in the podcast that I listened to about is Game Pass killing the market? So, like, they were saying that a lot of people who subscribe to Game Pass don't buy anything else, which I can name on like two hands at most. The entire time I've had my Xbox, I've bought a Yakuza game, Sekiro, Elden Ring, like big fucking games, but like nothing else.
Which Yakuza is now also all on Game Pass
Yeah.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one that I bought wasn't.
Okay, there you go, yeah.
And that's what I mean when I like giving Game Pass like praises, because like look how successful it is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's literally suffering from its own success. You know, like it did so well that it's starting to now hurt video games.
Yeah, now that it's kind of like, it did really well and now it's kind of like stagnating. And so I think the other big aspect is the fact that Microsoft just spent like $70 billion on Activision, and they're not putting out games, so then they need to cut costs in other areas because, you know, typically for Sony, for example, like, you have your God of Wars, your Last of Us, like your Spider-Mans, your huge games that you know you're going to sell like millions and millions of copies of.
Right.
That are your big money makers, and then you can put out the smaller indie games. Microsoft's problem is they don't have those like big Halo, you know, Gears of War like they used to have. Like,
dude, I want to say Microsoft's real problem is the things that they put out are kind of shit.
Yeah,
like Redfall was trash.
Yeah.
Starfield was fucking boring. Like, yeah,
and that's why I'm saying Game Pass hurts the quality of games.
Mm-hmm.
Because the developers already got their money. They don't need to make something amazing.
That's the weird thing, though, is like,
I mean, it appears to be just like a lack of direction within the company, because even, you know, Halo has suffered for a long time, even before Game Pass. Like, Fable has been in development hell for like years.
Dude,
like,
they've been talking about Perfect Dark.
Yeah, Perfect Dark
for forever.
You know, there's so many games that have just been like kind of announced. I mean, even Gears of War, which is a really renowned franchise, like,
it's been stagnant for a while.
Yeah, like, it just seems like that company has no direction.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
ESO Online has been going on the whole time. It's kind of crazy.
And it's doing well, isn't it?
I believe so. I want to say, but I'm not sure.
But I mean, it kind of seems like, yeah, they spent $70 billion on Activision, and
just trying to trim the fat.
But they don't have games like, you know, like Sony has their God of Wars and their Horizons that they know are going to like make a ton of money.
Yeah, and when I say trimming the fat, it's like, it's not even fat. Like, it's stuff that they need. It's just like what they view as fat.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not profitable, but it's like, but this is like what your gamers want. Like, this is
well, and I think the really annoying part about it is you have people like Phil Spencer who are very like, we love video games, but then you do something like shutting down studios.
Turn Hi-Fi Rush into a martyr.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I tried to think about it as like the dream is dead, man. Like I wanted to believe in the Xbox branding, like the pitch they were selling of just like we're gonna get a bunch of smaller studios and they're all gonna be on Game Pass and we'll like support them, like just let them do their own thing and we'll have some cool shit will come out of it. And then like I bought into that really hard. As hard as just me staying subscribed throughout the drought and throughout Redfall and all that. I'm just like, let them do their thing. They'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. And then them closing studios down, it hit like a fucking truck, dude. Mm-hmm. Just like
studios that just made some real good stuff too.
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder if they kind of considered the bad backlash, publicity, you know, because I think a lot of people will just have a negative response until Xbox does something good, which has been a while since they've done something good previously. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's not like Sony where Sony and Nintendo can do anything they want because then they're going to release a God of War and a Mario game and everybody, you know, will all forget about it because
everyone's going to come back.
Yeah, you know, Xbox doesn't really have that because when was the last like huge game? You know, I mean, Hi-Fi Rush was the last game that really surprised everybody and gave them a ton of good publicity.
It's hard to even attribute that to Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, that was like Bethesda,
Shinji Mikami.
Yeah.
The last big thing from Microsoft was Halo Infinite.
Yeah, which then got a lot of bad publicity after.
It was like released in stages. Like the campaign wasn't there right away.
Yeah, Forge wasn't there for a while.
Yeah.
Remember they did this like really cringy like gift giving away thing where like people would like the community would be like, hey, some random person in the chat is gonna win. They had like the little grapple or like freaking gun that he would shoot. Yeah, that was just like, come on, man, like really.
But
we gotta move on. We got a lot of topics. Helldivers 2 review bombing. Y'all remember that when for them forcing the Sony sign-in? Yeah.
I mean, it's a really interesting thing because every Sony game on PC is going to require a Sony login from this point on.
There's no reason that it should, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's for them to boost their own numbers. Yeah.
I think it's funny though that they said they're going to do it for Helldivers, and then everyone got pissed and they backed down, and then Ghost of Tsushima comes out and they're like, yeah, we're doing it there too, and everyone's just okay with it now.
But see, it's like exactly what I said.
Where, if they people are going to come back anyway.
Yeah, like Ghost of Tsushima is such a good game. Yep. Nobody's going to remember the bad publicity. You know, Helldivers in the long run is such a good game. Nobody's going to remember.
It was just because they tried to force it like after everybody had already bought it.
Yeah, and selling it in countries where
supposedly it was always part of the plan, but the servers couldn't handle it at the time.
I mean,
and I remember being a little upset when I had to sign into my PSN when I first booted it up. I was confused.
I didn't even remember my password. Yeah, I had to go reset that shit.
I had to dig it all up. Yep.
That's the main thing I hate about all the different services is, you know, if you play Grand Theft Auto, you have to log into your Rockstar account. I remember I downloaded Redfall on Game Pass to try it, and I had to log into a Bethesda account.
Oh, that's so gross. What the fuck? Who has a Bethesda account?
Yeah.
Have you, there's unofficial PC ports of N64 games that are kind of going around. I don't know the tech lingo behind it, but basically they're able to run these N64 games at like 120 frames a second.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So like Legend of Zelda, that was one of the first ones, and like people were
saying... I feel like that would break a lot of the physics in these games anyway.
It seems to be going fine.
Pretty stable.
Stable and like nothing's getting fucked up. All you do is like see a classic game that you remember from your childhood running the best it's ever ran. So that, I don't know, man, that seems cool. I'm scared to get into that stuff.
That's great. More power to them. I mean, video game preservation is a thing that needs to be focused on, so that's cool.
There's talk of a new Doom coming in the Xbox, or like being previewed in the Xbox showcase in June.
I'm scared because I loved 2016 and I hated Eternal. The tone shift was just too much.
Eternal was cool. I mean, I don't know. Xbox just needs some crazy showcase to like help people forget about everything that's going on, which, you know, Doom would help. just because I think there's potential.
Have you ever played Doom 2016?
Oh, so good.
I've never played Doom
So good.
at all.
Any Doom?
Wait,
Are
now-
you
I
into-
think
are you
the
into-
first one? Like they were like whatever, but like I think everybody's like
Yeah,
trying
you can
that.
play it on like calculators now
Yeah.
and stuff.
Are you into like fast-paced first-person shooters at all?
It's always been something that I've wanted to play. I heard simply for the soundtrack alone, people were like
Yeah.
You gotta
just
try it
gotta
now that
play
you
it.
have the Xbox and Game Pass.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just on the list. It's on the list.
I would say definitely try 2016. Not only was the game really fun, but the
Yeah.
tone of it was so good.
You guys are messing up. So you guys are playing all these games, right? So I'm waiting till I'm old and decrepit and retired.
I've thought about that
You
too.
get in your
I'm gonna
backlog.
be like, all right, let's do this. You guys are gonna have nothing to do.
In
My
my
backlog will last.
You see, the interesting thing with something like Doom coming out on Game Pass is I wonder what steps they'll take to make more money off Game Pass, similar to like what Netflix is doing now.
Mhm.
Like, are they going to release new tiers of Game Pass, like pay?
So,
Yes.
DLC.
The answer is yes, because that's literally one of the things. I didn't have it here, but when Call of Duty comes out, that's when the tiers will start kicking in.
Yeah, it's like pay $30
Mhm.
if you want to play this
For the
on day
DLCs
one.
as well, yeah.
So that's similar to, I guess, like the PlayStation Plus tiers.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Where they have like, PlayStation Plus is interesting since you have like the old games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I
But
just have the basic one. I was like, I just want to be able to play online.
so I'm curious to see where Game Pass goes with that. Like, kind of like I said with Netflix, all the things they're doing to try and make more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking gross. But we gotta move on. There's talk of a Total War Star Wars game.
That sounds awesome.
I can see it. Total War goes everywhere.
Hell yeah, dude. RTS fucking Star Wars that's made by the Total War guys.
There was a RTS Star Wars game way back in the day. It's like Star Wars Empire or something like that. It wasn't that great.
But imagine by the Total War guys after they've had decades of fucking practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love this story, dude. Masahiro Sakurai, the creator of Kirby and fucking Smash Brothers, he refused. This was in a Kirby game on like GameCube or something. He refused to add Dolby Surround because it was going to make players sit through the logo when they booted the game. Just straight up like, no, fuck that.
That's a consumer move. I like that.
I know, right? What a champ, dude.
I mean, I feel like that's the insane stuff that Nintendo thinks about that nobody else does. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody has to wait 5 seconds to see this logo, that's
Only
5
they
seconds.
weren't
they're
such
not playing
raging
it.
assholes.
But I mean, that's why their stuff is so unique, you know? Like, they think of stuff like that. It's like, have you ever gone to see a movie and there's like 10 different studio logos before the movie
3
starts?
minutes of logos, yep.
Ubisoft cancels Division Heartland.
I was really curious to see Heartland because I liked the first Division. I don't like Ubisoft, but I was curious. That's just another nail in their coffin to me.
Honestly, man, I just want another a Division 3. Fucking put it wherever you want. I don't care. I'll show up. As long as it's not like how Far Cry was. What was the Far Cry that took place in America? It was in like
5?
Kansas or something.
6, right?
Yeah, 6, I think.
6 or 5? No, 5.
I don't know.
It was 5. Yeah, it was like Montana.
I know. Yes, there we go. Thank you. Fuck.
Far Cry 4 with Pagan Min was in a fictional country of Kyrat.
Do you remember when Wildlands came out and they took place in Bolivia? Like Bolivia just run by drug cartels, and Bolivia got upset.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, you're portraying our country like
It's the
super
most
fucked up.
blatant stereotype you can give them.
There's talk of a Lego Horizon game. Horizon, like the
Horizon
PlayStation.
Zero Dawn?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Interesting.
Can you imagine like just beating up those animals and like
The
Lego
parts
pieces?
are flying. That's cool. That's a neat thought.
There's talks of a new PSP, a PSP sequel kind
No
of.
way.
It's failed
they already
2 times.
They already did the Portal.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
I feel like the Portal was a test run.
well, I mean, I don't know. I can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like, unless something is guaranteed to make money, like, they're not going to experiment.
I mean,
feel like-
well, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I feel like they'd sell better if they just re-release the PSP and all the games, because I feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh man, I wish I played that game on PSP."
I feel like with how big and expensive games are. Like Sony, for example, has such a hard time supporting all the different things like PSVR. Like, has there ever been a really cool like PlayStation VR game? Like,
No.
Skyrim.
yeah. So it's like I can't even imagine what games would be on a PSP2 or whatever.
Well, I mean, the good thing about it is since they have the Portal experience already, you can just stream your PS5 to the thing inside your house. Like,
Isn't that just a Portal though?
yeah, but like also if it had its own horsepower to play whatever and take it on the go, you can just play indie games out in public, kind of like a Switch.
I feel like people are just going to do the Steam Deck for that.
Yeah, with the birth of the Steam Deck, I
And them
don't see
releasing
those.
PlayStation games on Steam.
But there's a lot of PlayStation only households. Like,
Yeah, but they end up on Steam eventually.
Well, not even that, but you can just illegally download them
Yeah, I
on the
was gonna
Steam
say,
Deck.
I was like, yeah,
I mean, especially again, like with how big and expensive games are, you know, it's like the Vita and PSP, they had like Uncharted games, Killzone games, like
yeah.
all this weird stuff.
Nintendo.
Like, I can't imagine like Naughty Dog making a portable game anymore.
At this point, yeah.
Or even like
Helldivers 1 in public.
that's just Vita.
Steam Deck.
Oh, yeah.
It's already done.
Have y'all seen this NBA Superstars arcade? It's a modern arcade machine that has NBA Jam inspiration, but it's modern. It's like it's a new arcade game with modern players and everything, and there's power-ups, and you can jump across the fucking free throw line to just slam dunk it in and shit.
I wonder if that'll stay as an arcade cabinet or if they'll port it over to like consoles and such.
I wonder, yeah, because like there's no way it'll like blow up real hard. But
Yeah.
if they do a secondary release like after the fact, it'd probably be pretty sick. Sony pulls Neil Druckmann interview after totally rewriting what he was saying. Basically, I don't have the whole thing in front of me, but basically, like it just seemed like they had their own agenda to push, and they just manipulated his words to like say what they really wanted him to say. That yeah, he just caught wind of it and fucking like, yo, this is not accurate to what we talked about.
To be fair, though, he says some weird stuff
Yeah,
just
Neil
on his
Druckmann
own.
is kind of an idiot sometimes.
Tell me how you really feel.
The PSVR2 adapter is coming out August 7th. So if you wanted to play your PSVR2 on your computer, now you can. I think it's like $60 though.
Yeah, it's already $550 for a PSVR2.
Yeah, just pushing that price tag up.
plus another $60. Like at that point, like what?
Yeah,
What?
again, like what games?
Just get something native to PC.
Yeah.
Did y'all catch the Sony State of Play that just happened? I think it was like yesterday or something. Maybe it was Sunday.
Mm-mm.
There were some hits coming out of that.
I mean, the main thing was Astrobot.
Mhm.
I mean, that's like one of the coolest things Sony has now.
It looks like a Kirby game, but like really bombastic the way Kirby isn't.
I mean, the best part is all the cameos and like throwbacks to old Sony games, like
I think there's a Bloodborne reference in there.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Ape Escape, Uncharted, like all that kind of stuff, and the
So you're trying to
Astrobot
tap
game.
into that retro.
Yeah, well, if
scene.
you haven't played it, the Astrobot game, or it's only on PS5, so you should play it because it came with the console. It's a really short platformer that's like has nods to old Sony games and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Have you not played that?
Nope.
What? That literally shows you all the cool shit in the controller.
Didn't even know it was a thing.
Very cool.
How did you not?
I don't know.
Highly recommend. So I think they said this game is like
I don't ever turn it on.
It's
man.
new.
He doesn't play games. Leave him alone.
It's like the Nintendo Land for the Wii U or something, man. That's funny. There was also Monster Hunter Wilds, which is coming out next year. That looks really good. It looks like a Monster Hunter World style Monster Hunter. This is so weird to explain. I don't know, as far as like when you play most Monster Hunter games, you can tell like this is a segregated area, and if the monster runs away, then you have to travel this specific path to get there, and there's shit to do, but like it's so you can load different areas more than anything. Monster Hunter World made it a game to traverse more than most because it was all tightly knit. It just felt very organic, whereas these kind of don't, or most of them don't. Like you could tell it's a long path. Monster Hunter World is like you're sliding on vines and doing shit.
So they made the traversal like a game in itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I mean, they always do that for all of them, but this one felt way more organic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of it for news. We're going to take one more break. We'll be right back. So yeah, what's up? Welcome back. I had a topic to say right away. You showed us the trailer for the NCAA.
Oh yeah, college football.
That shit looked like really high quality.
I know they invited a lot of like YouTubers to play a test build of it recently, and there's been a lot of good things. Granted, there's a lot of people can't say a lot, and the people that got invited out to play a game like this were probably gonna like it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like they actually put a lot of effort into it, which is a good sign, because you never know with sports games.
Yeah, it's surprising for sports games. It's usually just like, well, here's the next one.
But I do think there's a thing with college football games. I don't know what it is, but it just has like
just more passion,
a grab on people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people are so attached to college football games, or it's one of those series that people that don't even really like sports or watch college football were really into.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked, again, the last time I played an NCAA game was the 05 one.
I mean, I think 2013 was the last one.
Yeah. I just really like the ability to make your own university. And I really hope that that's a feature, because we had fun.
There is,
you can, Oh, it is?
Yeah, you can
okay,
do it.
Nice. Yeah, my brother and I, we each made our own university. And I was Neanderthal State. And I was in Alaska, which is the biggest state. And I made every single player, the linemen, the wide receivers, everybody was the max height, which I think is like 6'8", and the max weight. Like I made them as big as possible, but then all their stats were 99. So they were Neanderthal State, and then he made a university called Midget University, and their university was in Rhode Island, the smallest state. And everybody was as short as you could make them. I think it was like 5'6" or something like that. And it was, and then again, the max stats. So like everybody was just like whatever. His linebackers were Snap, Crackle, Pop from the Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the best things about college football games is you don't need a lot of real world connections, especially just the nature of college. Like a guy is going to play on your team for 4 years max, and then you need to get brand new players. And I think it's that connection to fictional people that's like, okay, you don't need to know who the quarterback for this school is, because you're going to get somebody new who's fake, and you're going to like grow attachment to these fake players. And I think there's a lot of YouTube videos where people do like create their own schools and get really viral because of that. I think I saw that EA Sports hired modders who have been modding NCAA 14, which I think was the last one.
No, that's cool.
Which kind of gives me hope that it's like, okay, people who actually care about it,
Yeah.
people that have been modding this game for like 10 years, because the game's been pretty active because so many people feel strongly about it that you emulate NCAA 14, and there's a lot of mods you can download to like make it more modern.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful it comes out next month. So
It's going to be exciting.
I'm curious to see like the cultural impact. How many people that don't play games are gonna play it just for the college football game? Especially if it seems like EA has done their work to putting a lot of effort and care into it.
It looks like a passion project, yeah.
Which is awesome, because then if it is really well received, like how many new people are gonna get into it because of that,
Right.
I'm totally down to give it a try, but I feel like it's gonna end up how I felt about I think you got me into 2K19, where I had a fucking blast playing by myself and learning it, and then once I felt how sluggish the online was, and I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Like everything I learned doesn't apply to online play because the lag is so heavy.
Just bad servers.
Something like I couldn't possibly.
2K is weird because it's very pay to win also. But it has a similar draw. Well, so the whole point of 2K is one of the most popular modes is you create your own player, and you can pretty much do anything with them, and then you go play online with other people. And where pay to win comes in is you get money to upgrade your skills, your attributes.
Okay.
And you can get that by playing games,
Or
but
you can pay to have
it's pretty
more of it.
slow.
Yeah.
Or you can pay to just upgrade your character right away. And then there is like optimal builds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the really good characters have like this shooting, this passing, blah blah blah. And so let's say like your build is not very good, like you would be incentivized to just make another build and pay to...
Can you respec, like burn a voodoo doll in the ashes and redo your shooting skill?
Nope.
Oh.
It's very like
dumb.
predatory.
Boo.
But I mean, so the draw with NCAA is that it's single player, like you can create a school and have just fictional players come to your school, and then you just really like this one guy. It's almost like XCOM. In
That's
XCOM,
a weird way to put this.
how you
I see it, though.
you name your soldiers after your friends, or you get attached to this random guy who's really good. Like that's exactly how NCAA is, where
And then they get mangled by aliens.
you get this really random running back who was never supposed to be good, and then he turns out really good, and then you just fall in love with him, and then he graduates, and you just never see him again.
He's gone.
Damn.
Yo, can I steal that real quick? Let's talk about XCOM. Do y'all remember the mission? It might have been one of the DLCs, but I really couldn't tell you. Where you get a mission to go to like a dock, and it's a ghost town. Like nothing happens the entire way, and you have to go all the way in for an objective.
Yeah.
And as soon as you activate the objective, all the shark bodies start exploding with the aliens, and they just start showing up out of nowhere. That shit was terrifying,
The
dude.
chrysalids are the worst.
And then you couldn't do anything except just run. Like if you stayed and tried to fight, you were done.
Yeah.
I lost 3 solid dudes in that mission. It sucked.
And they have such violent deaths, too, when the chrysalid gets to them.
And they blow up in the new ones.
Yep.
It's so fucked.
There's nothing more frustrating that makes it restart the mission or whatever when you like lose like this guy who's like he's a colonel rank.
You're like star hitter,
yeah, and you have you have a team filled with colonels, and like it's like, oh man,
it's a good.
And they die right before the final mission or something. You're like, I literally can't start with a rookie.
See, literally college football. You have a superstar quarterback, receiver. They get injured right before the championship game.
Man, that's
you have some
shit.
rookie in there.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Your fucking third string has to show up.
So I mean, it hits in a way that like Madden doesn't, because Madden is all real life players, and they all play for 10 years or however long. Whereas college football, you're getting new guys into your school every single year, and they'll play at your school for like a max of 4 years. So.
I'm assuming there's like a character like customization, like change their features and
yeah,
stuff. Dude, I guarantee there's gonna be like Shrek as your quarterback. There's gonna be like all sorts of.
Oh, definitely.
I hope there's a
stuff.
Hall of Fame so you can see all their pictures and trophies and shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I love that.
Speaking of XCOM, I'm so bummed that Jake Solomon moved on.
Excuse me, who?
He's like the head developer of XCOM.
Yeah, he
1,
gave
2, and Midnight Suns.
He had a really interesting interview on MinMax recently, talking about his new game.
It's like a Sims-like type thing, which is a big change from XCOM.
I don't remember. He gave an interesting explanation talking about how XCOM and everything he loves is like systems and how they interact with each other. And that's how he got into The Sims.
Yeah, I think what he said is he really liked the bonding mechanics in XCOM 2, so he wanted to bring that into a Sims-like game, which is interesting.
Yeah,
but, I'd rather XCOM 3 like it was teased.
Yeah, I mean, Midnight Suns was really cool too. I don't know if you ever played that.
I didn't, but I heard good things.
It's fun. The story, it's very interesting. The story didn't really grab me. Mm-hmm. It's kind of almost like a Persona game.
Yeah,
because you spend a lot of time outside fights,
which is him going deeper into the bonding stuff.
Yeah, which didn't really grab me personally, but I really like the fighting and the card stuff. It's really interesting. It's almost just XCOM meets card games. So that was really cool, really fun. It probably will be on sale frequently because it's older, and I don't think it's sold very well, which is unfortunate. But yeah, definitely recommend checking out the MinMax show with him because he talks a lot about his experience working on XCOM and Midnight Suns and what he's going to do next.
Mm-hmm. Who all watched Fallout?
I did not.
Still, I have like 2 episodes left.
I don't know if you've gotten to the big thing that made people mad then.
I don't think so, because I haven't been mad.
I think it happens at the end.
Care if I say much?
Don't say it, because I'm going to finish it like within the
It's not a big spoiler for the show.
Okay.
But it upset the New Vegas community.
Oh, the whole like I don't remember a lot of that.
It's
I read
at the
about
very end. It's
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that, but what they did to Shady Sands.
Oh.
That upset people because it basically made New Vegas not canon.
Yeah, I'm not enough into Fallout lore to
get that.
I think it was more so they were upset because it was located, the location of it was in California, or like more so like closer to the coast or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the New Vegas, it was like in the middle of a desert. But they made it seem like it was like a super populated thing.
Yeah. Good show though. I liked it.
Yeah. They really captured the vibes really well in a way I didn't expect.
It was really slow at first, so I didn't like the first 2 or 3 episodes, but it picked up and it got me. I was also like kind of fevery when I was watching it, so it was like...
I mean, it is kind of like a weird, insane show, so it seems like it would be kind of a fun fever watch because it's so weird. But yeah, I'm curious how many like new Fallout fans that's going to bring in.
Oh, a lot.
I mean, Fallout 76.
I mean, it revived 76.
Yeah, and 4, I think, was like the highest selling game on Steam or something like that.
Everyone hated 76, and now people are like, no, 76 is pretty good.
It's the only choice.
Yep.
Because I downloaded, I was looking through the Fallout games because I was like, I really want to play a Fallout game, which I haven't yet, but I was like, I kind of want to play 4 just because it's more modern, even though it's not as good as
the gunplay feels
3.
better, even though it still sucks.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask an off-the-wall question. What, if you had, like, the weekend to yourself, like, the house to yourself, and I'm not going to say, like, a dumb amount of money to fucking blow, but, like, you know, like, a treat yourself amount of money to blow, what is, like, your ideal degenerate weekend? So I'll give you an example. Mine is, like, I have done this, where I just get a pizza, and that'll be my fucking dinner that night, breakfast, lunch, and then I'll go out to get fucking chicken fried steak, and then come home and have a midnight snack of more pizza, and just play video games all weekend. Like, I've had y'all over. It's never like a big party or anything, but like, we'll just come over, have some drinks, and fucking play a few games. It's never more than like 8 people, if that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think no-lifing video games is a fun thing to do, like, on a degenerate weekend or whatever. You know, especially, like, I've had weekends where my girlfriend's out of town visiting family or whatever. I have very fond memories where she did that one time, and I beat the game Inscription in, like, 3 days, because that was just, like, a mind-blowing experience.
You just gooned on Inscription?
Yeah. And so it's pretty fun, just, like, beating a game in like 2 or 3 days, you know, around that time.
I think for me, it would just be like a really chill weekend. Like, I would probably just eat in, like, just order food, whatever, get on Uber Eats, like, this is what I'm craving. Lazy day, I'm not even gonna see the sun type of thing. Just relax and sleep.
I think it's pretty similar answers for all of us. Pizza, Uber Eats, mead, games.
Mead.
Just
Hell yeah.
you just pay attention to nothing else.
Yeah, I
Just let the house become a mess. Care about nothing.
What games would y'all play now if you had the weekend?
Right now, I mean, it'd be what I'm currently playing. Like, I took a break from like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but that's such like a big long game.
I hear that's like 80 hours,
Yeah,
dude.
I've probably played like 20 to 30, and I took a break because I'm like, I need a break, and I don't see this ending anytime soon. Maybe making like big progress on that, or around the holidays, I took a couple days to just play through Armored Core.
I think we all know what I would play. Skyrim, for sure.
Dude, honestly, you can go back to Skyrim whenever. I'm fine with that.
I jump on Switch, Skyrim on Switch, every once in a while, and it's always just like, man, it's nostalgic almost.
I'm always in a state of like wanting to play Skyrim again. It doesn't go away.
It would be cool to just fucking Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and just play Skyrim all over again for the first time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
sure.
a fun thing. If there was a game that you could experience for the first time, what would it be?
Breath of the Wild.
For the first time?
Yeah, like just erase your memory of a game, play it all over again.
Dude, I don't know. For me, it's like stuck between Mass Effect and The Last of Us, honestly. Like, just look at like those series.
The
Like,
first Last of Us is good. That's a good contender. Kingdom Hearts 2.
What if you hate it? What if you like, man,
very possible.
You
But-
just become a different person.
Even when I was a kid, I hated the Disney aspect of it. But like the rest of it's just so good. No, Kingdom Hearts games have a very special spot.
What is the game you want to avoid doing that with? Because it's too pure in your memory. I want to say like Perfect Dark, maybe. Playing Perfect Dark modernly would kind of be terrible because FPSs have come a long way.
That's a good one. I don't know right now.
It would probably have to be something like on a really old console, like
Something that just didn't age well. Yeah.
like on like the Sega Saturn or something. You know, just like the dead console, whatever. But it was just good because it was there.
You know, I'll give something slightly modern. I simp for it because I thought it was a great game. Battleborn. But what if I play it again and I'm like, oh, this is kind of trash? I don't know. I remember liking it, but
ESPN Extreme Sports for the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That game, amazing. But playing it now is like, I can't even see what's the road.
Mario Sunshine would be pretty bad to go back with modern eyes, just because it's like, imagine 64 was like revolutionary, but it's clunky in certain ways. Like the camera control is kind of ass. Mario Sunshine's kind of the same way. In different ways. It's just like the camera can totally fuck you out of nowhere.
Star Fox Assault.
Dude, oh my god.
But it might suck.
I haven't thought of that game in forever, man.
It was great. I liked it.
Yeah, I had a blast when I played it around the time it came out.
It was really good. But it might have sucked. I don't know. I was a kid.
Yeah.
Heavy Rain.
Oh, yeah.
That would just be terrible. Sean! Jason.
Did you ever see the clip of that game glitching out during the last cutscene, and the Sean button was just available to press at any time?
That's such a good clip.
It hasn't happened anywhere else besides that one clip.
I mean, I do wonder like how many games would really hold up from previous generations.
I'm gonna be real. I bought myself Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door, and I expect it to be fantastic all over again.
Star Wars KOTOR is timeless.
Yeah.
Those N64 Star Wars games might be ass now.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. Any game that was based off of a movie back then.
I do really miss like bad movie tie-in games though. Like
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, I played some bad ones though.
I know, but it was kind of
Y'all
fun. Like
ever played Chronicles of Narnia on the
Yes.
on the Xbox?
Oh, I played it on GameCube, but yes,
or
dude.
even what about like Chronicles of Riddick? Did you ever play that one?
No.
Like it's kind of a shame that we only got like one Avengers live service game in comparison to like 5 Avengers game for each movie, you know?
Man, they could have milked that so hard. They could have made each Avenger its own game type of thing, but if they actually like had good developers for it,
Yeah.
can you imagine just like a straight like actual Hulk game, like actually?
Well, I
like,
remember playing
good.
like Wolverine games and Hulk
Dude,
games.
the Wolverine game was good. It kind of was like Metal Gear Solid. Honestly,
Yeah.
I kind of like sneaking around though. I was like, "What the? I'm Wolverine."
There was a good Hulk game on GameCube, I think.
Or like all the Spider-Man games, you know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of
That's
weird
the
that
only good
Spider-Man's
one.
like the only one that like lasted.
Who would have thought just swinging around the city? Like honestly, that's the main appeal of the game.
You couldn't hear it, but he was doing swinging arms.
Yeah, you gotta explain it.
Oh, well, which Spider-Man is it? Is it Tobey
2.
Maguire? Or is it this one? That one, classic.
Yeah. The cel-shaded one, what was it, like Ultimate Spider-Man or something?
That sounds familiar.
Never played that one.
That was the one where you could play as Venom too, right?
I think so, yeah.
Was there any game that you can recall that you just would fucking die for and you just never got to play it?
A game I would die for that I never played?
That like really sold you on like previews and trailers and shit. I remember seeing Nintendo Power stuff for Beautiful Joe. Joe.
That game was awesome.
It pulled me in so hard just with the art style alone that I was like, dude, I gotta play this. And I still never have.
I mean, I think there was a lot of stuff for me back in the day because I would get like a lot of video game magazines and stuff like that. And, you know, but being a kid, teenager, like, there's only a limit to certain things you can get. I know Silent Hill 2 was always one. That's why I replayed it recently. Or I played it for the first time recently. Because that was always a game that, like, stood out in my memory that I never played.
They added one of the N64 games that I remember seeing at like Hollywoods and Blockbusters all the time because the box art was so sick. It was like construction vehicles like crashing into each other and explosions happening in the background. And for some reason I never rented it. But like now that it's available on the Switch Online expansion, whatever the fuck they call it, I gave it a try and I was like, dude, I would have loved this if I actually played it back in the day when it like caught my eye. It was like, it's meant for like a 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy who just wants to blow shit up. Because it is just like you driving a bulldozer and it tells you like, this vehicle wants to get from this spot to this spot, kill everything in the way, and you're just fucking running over buildings and shit, and explosions are happening.
Sounds awesome.
I still intend to play it, but Darksiders 2.
Yeah.
I played the first one, never played the second, but it always looked awesome.
I think the second wasn't a lot different than the first one.
Yeah, I think they went a little more RPG with it.
Yeah.
Like you would pick up armors and different weapons and such. But it always looked tight.
I think I played a demo for that or something. I remember playing the first Darksiders.
Mm-hmm.
And I vaguely remember Darksiders 2.
Did you ever see I think it was the third one that was like a top-down? Am I thinking of the right
That
thing?
is the fourth one,
Mhm.
but I know what you're talking about. Like Genesis or something?
It was like a twin-stick shooter.
Yeah, you played as Strife and War.
What a strange series.
Yeah, to go out on the note that it went on,
Yeah.
Strife never getting like a full good game.
But it was cool.
I intend to go back to it eventually.
Anything else y'all want to bullshit about real quick?
Silent Hill 2 trailer?
It looked fucking thematic as shit. If I wasn't such a bitch, I would totally give it a try. But I am terrified to play that by myself.
It looks cool, but I think that gameplay is starting to get tired. Like there's just been too much from the shoulder.
Well, I mean, that's the
games at
funny
this
thing
point.
is the original gameplay in Silent Hill 2 is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to the point where you run away from any enemy you see because it's just boring to fight them. So, I mean, I'm really curious if they can tell the same story in Silent Hill 2, but with...
Well, I wonder what they're going to do with you. Are you still going to be weak and pathetic, or are you going to be steamrolling monsters now?
I mean, in the original, you can steamroll monsters. Like, it's,
ammo.
the game is so hard to control. I mean, I don't know. I'm interested, but I think it'll be really hard to recreate the.
Like, I just wonder how tense it's going to be. Is this going to be like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 4? Where are we going? How actiony are we
It
going?
looked real fucked up. I imagine like it might have its own vibe to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of like a scarier version of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Way more serious, you know, tackling way more serious themes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious. You know, I know it's very divisive among hardcore fans of the game, but everything is that people really like.
All remakes are divisive now. Yeah. It looks cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really curious. If they nail the story, that's all that matters, because the combat sucked in the original one, so it's not like they're necessarily missing out on anything over there.
Yeah.
Alright, well, it's getting late for us. We got to call it there. If you made it this far, thank you. You can follow the Twitch, which is probably going to go inactive for a little while, but it's there. I'll be back eventually. The YouTube, the Spotify, if you want a convenient way to listen. And thanks. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suhail.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
And thank you, me. Yes, it has been. So yeah, you keep being cool or whatever. See y'all later.